You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining us on today's show. We are so happy to have with us Mr. Matt Easton back in the studio. He is a sales trainer, consultant, and founder of Easton University, one of the good guys out there with a whole new way to look at sales training and how you can win in the sales game. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Man, it's great to be here again. Yeah. Always love it. Always love it.
So we got so many great responses the last time that you were on. One of them came up, somebody came in and said, listen, you know, I'd love for you to ask Matt, what do you do with that customer when you're at that point that you've shown everything, you've done the feature presentation, they like you, you like them, but you're wondering, okay, you know, what's the next step? How do you get them to engage with you to go to that next level of the sale?
How do I close?
Right.
Yeah?
How do I close?
Perfect. All right. So, all right, this is going to be huge for everybody that's watching. I'm about to give you the good stuff.
Ready, folks?
I'm about to give you the good stuff. This is so simple, but yet nobody does it. All right, so when we think about closing, a lot of us either have some old catchy phrase left over from decades, you know, hey, Jim, if you don't get it right now, it's going to be gone. Come on, we don't want to act like that, right?
If the numbers are agreeable.
Right. Yeah. Some silly stuff.
Right.
Not today, not ever again. That's a great way to get yourself some bad Yelp reviews.
Yes.
So the other, if we don't want to use that kind of old trickery, for lack of a better word, what a lot of people do is they don't close at all.
Yeah.
Which isn't good.
No.
I'm just going to service you. I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be nice, and I'm just going to hope for the sale. Right.
Because sometimes in this, especially in this environment now, this new way and all the information and people can buy anything they want right on their hip. Some salespeople are afraid to ask a closing question, right? So to your point,
absolutely,
the people just go and nobody says anything.
Yes, and this is something we talk about with our students in our live events with Easton University. You have to be ethical. Mm-hmm. And being ethical, sometimes the best service you can ever provide to a customer, Jim, is asking those difficult questions. And I'll explain. If you're a cardiologist, right, and you've got somebody comes in and their heart's beating 200 beats a minute and they're chugging Red Bull, and you don't want to try and close them on not drinking 42 ounces of energy drink every hour and taking maybe some blood pressure medication, that patient's going to die. Right. Okay. I know that most of our viewers out here aren't cardiologists, right? But also think about if you're not helping that single mom on a vehicle purchase or somebody that's trying to plan their wedding or whatever it is, and they end up saying, I need to think about it, and they wait, and that product's gone. Ethically, you need to take a good part of that responsibility.
Yeah, you're right.
The fact that this mom doesn't have a vehicle or this bride does not have a venue for her wedding, that's on you. You need to close every deal. You need to at least make an attempt.
Sure.
Now, if you'd like, I can show you how to do that in a way that's not pushy, not manipulative, and most importantly, does not get them to a point where it's, I need to think about it, and they need to, and they walk away and you don't know what's going on.
That's right. And then your manager says, what happened to those people? And you're like, I don't know. I showed them everything. And
they're supposed to come back.
They're supposed to come back. They said, I'll be back. And then we know what happens there.
Correct. And that's where that efficacy comes in of they don't realize the risks at stake. So they're going to go wander off. And in today's world, the product's not going to be here.
Right.
So you've been ethical. You've gone through all the other stuff that I've coached them on in the other segments. You're starting the conversation correctly. We're at a point where I want to ask you if you want to make a purchase.
Right.
Okay. The first thing that we want to realize is you want to avoid what I would call an all or nothing request. That's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Jim, do you want to buy it?
No.
Yes. No. Oh, darn it. Right. Why not? What can I do to get your business? We just took the DeLorean back to 1980s, right?
That's right.
What can I do to get your business? So I want to be able to ask you in a way where I'm not asking you to do anything. Right? The way to do that is to, instead of asking you a yes or no question, an all or nothing request, to ask you a timing question. Okay. So if you're going to reject me, you're essentially, the only way you can reject me if I ask you a timing question is not right now, right? So how I rephrase that is, instead of saying, Jim, do you want to do blank? I'm just going to say, Jim, does it make sense to blank?
Okay.
By pivoting, do you want to buy this car? That's a yes, no question. Does it make sense to buy the car? Is a timing question. If you say no to does it make sense, you're essentially saying not right now. Right. By the way, parents, don't let your kids watch this, right? Because your kid's going to be like, hey, Dad, does it make sense to give me $20 because I'm going to the mall, right? So If I say to you, hey, Jim, let's just pick the single mom with the minivan. Does it make sense to purchase the vehicle? You can say yes or you can say no, right? If you say no, and I've asked you, does it make sense? I'm in a perfect position to say, here, you say no to me. Hey, Jim, does it make sense to purchase the vehicle?
No, not right now.
Got it. What's a good next step then? So I'm able to now pivot instead of, Jim, do you want the vehicle? No. What do I need to do to get your business? Why not?
Right.
By the way, if you work in sales, never say why not.
Right.
They're going to tell you, they're going to make up reasons why not.
That's right.
They will answer the questions you've asked them.
That's right.
Right?
And then later they've got to live up to that lie that they just
live
told
up to
you
the
get
lie.
out of it.
Exactly.
Right.
So don't put yourself in that position.
Right.
So, Jim, does it make sense to purchase the vehicle? No, not right now. What's a good next step then?
Right.
And notice what I did there. I didn't say anything after that. I paused. Right? I'm not a hustler from 30 years ago just waiting to throw out my one-liners. I genuinely want to know what the next step is. Right? So
without being intrusive to that prospect.
Exactly. And now let me show you how we can make sure that even the most evasive, non-communicative customer, the one that just clearly is not going to give us anything, that we still set something.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you, does it make sense to blank?
Right.
You're going to say no.
Right.
I'm going to pause. Cool. What's a good next step then?
Right.
Most of the time, you're going to give me a next step. Let me think it over, and I can.
Sure.
Other segments we can talk
with my spouse.
Correct.
We want to look at one other product, or
yeah. And I'm not a big fan of forcing anybody. I have a different take on those things, but we can save those for another day, right? But most of the time, you're going to tell me what the next step is.
Right.
But let's say you just say, I don't know. I need to think about it. You don't give me anything, right? Now I'm just going to rephrase that question, and I'm going to phrase it in terms of, what's a good next step for me, or what's a good next step on my end?
Right.
So you say I need to think about it when I say what's a good next step. So I'm going to say, hey, Jim, does it make sense to purchase the vehicle?
No.
Got it. What's a good next step then?
I just have to think about it.
Got it. What's a good next step on my end?
Probably to follow up with me in a week or so.
Awesome. I will touch base with you. What's today? Tuesday. I will call you Thursday if I haven't heard from you before then. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Now I've taken control. Now notice the nuance there. See, it's almost impossible. You struggled with that.
Right.
With evading me. When I ask, what's a good, your brain, you're automatically going, well, I need to give this person a next step. Right?
That's right.
And you just went to your unspoken objection, the timing, which we could have gone off on another track, because I want to know why the timing isn't right. Again, that's what we've talked about in other segments. Ethically, it is my responsibility to know what your timing is. Right. Not because I want to pressure you into a purchase, because I want to make sure that I'm providing you with the scope of everything that's going on. Because again, as we've talked about in other segments, if you come back in 2 weeks and whatever it is that we've been talking about is either gone or the price has changed, gone up.
Yeah.
That's I would say majority my responsibility.
What do you say to the salesperson that's out there that's listening to say, well, it sounds like you just let that prospect out the door without turning up the heat at all to try to still close today? Like, is there a caveat to that says, well, it sounds to me like the individual just isn't sold enough in order to still try to close today?
Yes. And that philosophy worked 30, 40 years ago when we were selling in a vacuum. Here's what happens today. As we're talking, I'm already looking at my other options on my phone. If I pressure you right here, right now, in this moment. Okay. Not only are you still going to, our customers were born at night. They weren't born last night. Not only are you going to see that I'm tricking you, you're never going to come back or worse. You're going to leave a Google review somewhere that I can't ever take down, that's going to live in perpetuity.
So you're saying in today's way, don't go that extra step and don't keep pushing, because now you're going to lose that prospect forever.
Correct. I want them to understand that person. I don't want them to pressure. There's nothing that I teach feels high pressure. Pressure does not work. And the repercussions of pressure are deadly. Right? I can't tell you how many people that have come to me to put their team on training because of the fact that they had years ago somebody act with pressure, and those reviews, those things are still sitting out there today that they can't do anything about.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
I would rather you make a decision to go someplace else and tell people, well, Jim didn't have what we wanted, or we couldn't make the numbers work, but Jim's a great great guy. They're a great outfit.
Sure.
I can't say anything bad about the organization. It didn't work out for me.
Right.
That's still a win for me.
Sure.
What I don't want to have is somebody go, don't talk to them. They'll pressure you.
That's right. That's
not good.
Which is deadly.
Deadly. Because as we've talked about in other segments, right in their hand,
that's right.
on their phone,
that's right.
You know, Norma Jean in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, has a platform.
That's right.
Right? We don't know how many followers she has.
That's right.
We don't know who's in her knitting circle.
Yeah.
Right? Or who she's related to.
That's right.
It used to be you just get angry and you do what? My mother still does this because she's 80 years old and she's from South Boston.
Yeah.
She writes a letter to the manager.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to write the manager a letter. Those days are gone.
That's right.
You hope that that's what they're thinking, right? In today's world, it's
on the way out or while they're still sitting there.
One-star review.
That's right.
And that lives in perpetuity.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Matt Easton, sales trainer, consultant, founder. This is why we bring him in, because he's got great techniques for today's selling. I want to underline that, because some of you salespeople out there might go, well, I would have closed that individual, and here's the technique I would have used. But I agree with Matt that, man, you're going to have a tough time as this sales game continues to change, as we see it changing right now before our very eyes. So keep in mind, everybody has one of these on their hip, and they can go anywhere, not just in the city, in the country, in the world for that matter, for the product you're selling. So be careful with how you treat those customers, and it's all about having the right process and word track. So
exactly right.
That's right. Matt Easton, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
The world of sales has completely changed. Today's customer has access to more information. Today's customer has more choices. The business world needs you. Studies have shown that 84% of salespeople fail to achieve their goals. The old sales training, well, it just doesn't work today. I'd like to teach you how to take the stress out of selling in a way that's meaningful to you and your customers, and get you 7 times more business. I'll show you how the perfect sales process works. I'm gonna walk you through everything from prospecting to closing the deal. I'm gonna show you how to determine your prospects' wants and their needs, so you can build value in your solutions. You will learn how to handle any objection or complaint. I'm gonna show you how to connect with your customer so it's easy for them to buy from you. I've taught the best companies in the world and thousands of people just like you how to hit their targets. Selling is complicated. I'll simplify it for you. There's more competition than ever before. I'm gonna show you how to be number one. All of a sudden, your career, it's gonna make perfect sense, even if you've never worked in sales or the corporate world before. And for the advanced sales professionals, I'm gonna show you how to take things to the next level. Easton University is a new, simple, step-by-step process that's effective in any industry, large or small. You are about to become a certified master sales consultant. I'm Matt Easton, and this is Easton University.